I got some early hands-on time with the new Metal Gear Solid Delta, which is a Snake Eater remake. Shout out to Konami for inviting me to this event. And I'm here to share my first impressions. I know it's a lot of Metal Gear fans out there, and you guys want to know, what does your Hokage think about Delta? And I'm gonna share some first impressions of the gameplay, but before I do, friendly reminder, I'm giving away a gaming laptop this month. If you want to enter the giveaway, a link will be in the description box below. I want to preface this video by saying, listen, especially if you're new to my channel, because this might attract some new people because I got early access to it, so there's not going to be a ton of videos out. I want to preface this video by saying, I know, and wait for it, dun, 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 I've never played Metal Gear. This is coming. My impressions are coming from the perspective of a Metal Gear casual. I know who Solid Snake is. I have some familiarity with the franchise. I mean, who doesn't know what it is? But I never played it. I played it. I mean, I never beat one. Let me put it that way. I played it at a friend's house, but like I never personally owned it. I was a Splinter Cell guy. Don't get it twisted. I played a lot of stealth games. I played a ton of games, but I was more of a Splinter Cell guy. And I just never got into Metal Gear for whatever reason. So I was actually shocked that Konami even invited me to this event. But hey, opportunity is opportunity. When it comes knocking, you put your foot on the pedal. That's some life advice. So yeah, I want to preface this video by saying the perspective of this game is coming from a super casual. That being said, I know a lot about games. And with that data, usually I can tell from a preview or even with the eye test, I can usually tell what's gonna be a good game, is gonna appeal to people. I will say, even though I've never played Metal Gear, I feel confident in saying I think Metal Gear fans are going to like Metal Gear Solid Delta. After playing the game, I actually apologize. I get it. And by the way, I played the final build, which is a good sign, by the way. I played the final build. We're at the end of August. It was the top of August that we played. It was almost a month ago that I played this. I just wasn't allowed to release my impressions until now. So just know that because I played it all day, the gameplay you're seeing on the screen is my personal gameplay. This is not some B-roll given to me by Konami. I showed up, I recorded, I brought the gameplay home, and now I get to show you what I did, which, by the way, like I said, we played all day and I beat like the first 3 bosses. So I mean, I got pretty far into the game while getting to explore. I feel like I had a good grasp on what Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater was by the time I was done with that event. Yeah, it is my gameplay. Not only does it appeal to the people who originally played the old Snake Eater, but I think this game is going to do a good job of appealing to newer people, which I mean, I think that's the goal with the remake. So right when you boot up the game, one thing I liked about it is it knows it's going to attract new people. It asks you out the gate, how familiar are you with Metal Gear? And then based off of that, it'll give you 2 different play styles. So you can play with the traditional camera from the original release of the game, because from my understanding, it had like an interesting wonky camera. And then you can also have the option to play with the new camera, which gives more of a traditional third-person action style camera. If you're, you know, over-the-shoulder type stuff, you should feel very familiar with that. I went with the new one because, I mean, it's a remake. It's a new version of the game. I said, sure, why not? And when I loaded into the world, I was throwing back how kooky and unserious the game was. It was just serious enough, but it was just goofy enough. And then when I actually got into the gameplay, I was impressed, man. The visuals, mwah, this is one of the best looking games of 2025. It's really good looking and it's very optimized, which goes back to what I was saying earlier. I can't speak for the console version. We played on PC. All I can say is that bare minimum, that PC version is going to run well, because I asked the people at Konami and they said we were pretty much playing on the final build and it was running buttery smooth. It looked good. I wouldn't get no frame rate drops or nothing like that. So that is a good sign of confidence. So I feel confident saying the console version should run well too, but at bare minimum, I can definitely tell you the PC version is going to be mwah. What I think this game does a good job is it keeps the essence of the original game in it while ushering it into a new era, making it easier and more accessible for a newer generation. Don't expect to get some crazy new mind-blowing experience. Don't get me wrong, the new controls are cool in the third-person camera. I know that does change the game a lot, but I do feel like at the core, at the essence, they still got it. And the reason I know is because I was sitting in between 2 hardcore Snake Eater fans, and they were like, oh yeah, this is Snake Eater, but you know, they updated it for 2025 and beyond. I think the main thing you should expect from this remake, which surprise, obviously better visuals and performance, but just small quality of life changes. I was asking the Konami guys, because I like I said, I didn't play the original one. They were telling me the crouch walking, seamless stancing, You can lay on your back now and shoot. You can pause the cutscenes. Apparently that wasn't a thing. That would have drove me crazy when the original version came out. Just a lot of quality of life changes that you think would be there, but they weren't back then. And so then the game didn't age well in certain aspects. I feel like what this game does a good job of is keeping the essence of the original game, but kind of updating it and making it feel like what you thought it felt like when you were a kid, if that makes sense. An example I can think of is the recent Spyro the Dragon remake trilogy that came out a few years ago. That had some good quality of life changes in it. And an example being is you had full control of the camera. I used to love Spyro as a kid, but I'm old now. I did not remember this until I went back and did my research, but you did not have full control of the camera. So what the remake did is it allowed you to control the camera with the second analog stick, which you know is not a big deal now, but back then clearly it was. I don't know how the hell we played these games back then. That's what I'm trying to get at. But yeah, they enhanced the enemy AI. There's a new photo mode. They modernized the menu so it's easier to shuffle through the items. They added some new items as well. And they even updated the combat animations with some new motion control. So everything just feels much more fluid, feels much more natural and much more intuitive. So you can actually focus more on the action and the stealth, as well as the kooky ass story that everybody loves versus kind of finicking through the menus and being frustrated with the camera. Then you have little stuff like the camo system that's been improved. So like, you know, you got like the mud, the rain, that'll get all over your camo. And that actually alters how the camo is effective in the gameplay. You also got like different weather and physics effects, the persistent damage. I'm trying to think what else. Upgraded healing and eating animations. It's all really small, nerdy stuff, I'm not gonna lie, that you probably a hardcore Snake Eater fan is gonna notice. But for everybody else who's their first time playing, it's probably gonna feel like something that should just be in a third person game. It makes you wonder, once again, how did we deal with someone like these older systems? But what a bare minimum, what I can say is all it felt good. All of it felt good. It only took me about 10 to 15 minutes, which by the way, we played for like 6 to 8 hours. It took me about 10 to 15 minutes to get used to controls. And then after that, I was able to just kind of focus on the gameplay to the point where I believe I beat the first 3 bosses. This, and I can't stress this enough, this is a really good sign. Usually for those who've never been to a game preview event, when you go to these events, you pull up, they usually let you play for about an hour or two, 3 max. 2 is usually like the sweet spot. And then after that, you got to write your preview and, you know, say, you know, this is what I think of it. They let us play for about 6 to 8 hours. We played all day. I beat multiple bosses to the point where I came out of this preview and I said, I understand. And that's why earlier I was like, damn, I almost feel like I owe an apology for never playing Metal Gear. And truthfully, I'm gonna be 100% honest. This game wasn't even on my radar. I know a lot of people were excited about this because they love Metal Gear, but truthfully, I don't know if I would have tried this game if Konami didn't invite me out to try this game. So shout out to them because they opened my mind up to something new. Like I said, this wasn't on my things to play, but I'm definitely going to be streaming this game. I wouldn't be surprised if I see Metal Gear fans say it deserves at least like best action game. I'm not saying that's what I think, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see some conversations on the internet from what I played of some people screaming this is one of the better games of the year. I think my problem with that conversation is this is a remake. It's an improvement on something that's already considered a classic. So I always kind of feel weird about those kind of conversations. But at bare minimum, I will tell you from my time playing this, I do feel like everybody who likes stealth action games is going to enjoy this. I was thoroughly enthralled in the story. Oh my God. I think so when you get past the prologue part and then you get to the section where it plays the Snake Eater theme, mwah, that song is fire, but there's a new animation. And personally, I only knew it was new because the people sitting next to me told me, the Snake Eater fans, they was like, oh no, this wasn't in it. It was fire. It was fire. I'm excited to see how the rest of this story played out. And I'm actually upset that I'd never even played more of this, but it feels good. The shooting feels good. I was a little worried that the survival elements were going to bother me, but the survival elements are super streamlined. They're pretty simple. I mean, as long as you eat, you'll be all right. Heal your wounds, you'll be all right. It didn't feel overwhelming. It felt immersive. I felt like the AI was very challenging. I played on normal and I felt like I did have to try, especially when it came to the camo system. They will notice a big difference if you're not wearing the correct camo. So then it can turn out into an all-out shootout. But even when you did have to shoot, the shooting felt good. Like I said, it felt intuitive with the new play style. I think some people will enjoy the more classic way of playing the game. But I do think if you do pick this up, because I mean, most of it is quality of life changes. You should, one of the main things that they changed is the new playstyle. I think you should try out that new playstyle because it just feels right. It feels right. Everything's streamlined. This felt like a labor of love, and I think Konami's got one. Based off the vertical slice that I played. You know, things are always subject to change. But yeah, that's kind of my first impressions of Metal Gear Solid Delta. I definitely will be streaming this over at twitch.tv/theblack-hokage. Sorry that I couldn't give you a more in-depth thought process. Usually I'm much more in-depth with my thoughts on this stuff, but like this is my first time playing Metal Gear. But I'm usually a good judge of games. This is a good game. I'm not gonna lie. This is a good game, and I think people who are fans of the Metal Gear series, you guys are going to enjoy this experience. Also, before I get out of here, make sure to join the giveaway. Link in the description box below if you want to get a new gaming PC, and maybe you can play Metal Gear on it. But yeah, I'll see y'all on the next one. Skrr!